Alright guys, welcome to another First Impressions video. I'm Obi.
And I'm Sobi. In today's video, we're going to be giving you our thoughts on Project Zomboid. If you're new to the channel, you should consider subscribing to stay up to date with all of our latest content, where we discuss games like Project Zomboid and really anything that catches our attention.
With that out of the way, let's jump in. So, what is Project Zomboid?
Project Zomboid is a zombie survival simulation. And I say simulation because this game is so realistic that, everything is so in-depth in this game. There is so much to do. There is so much to go out and gather. It is such a hardcore simulation game, and I am in love with it.
The game itself is just a giant simulation. That's the best way to explain it. I mean, there are so many random things that can happen that are just so unexpected that would carry over to something that would happen in real life. An example would be something like you're fighting a zombie and you trip, and because you trip, it's game over. It's game over.
There's another good one where, you think, hey, I'm going to jump over this fence to keep myself safe. Oh, well, I just scratched my leg. And because I took a perk, because perks in this game are pretty big. I took a perk that's prone to illness. My leg is also infected from where I scratched it on this crappy picket fence. Well, now that infection leads to a sickness and I'm dead. So this game is, again, it is a simulation. It is very, very brutal, but it is so much fun. It really does kind of hit a lot of points that I want to. Now, you have to kind of get past the graphics of the game. A lot of people always complain about the way that it looks, about the graphics, everything like that. But at the same time, there is so much stuff packed into this game, packed into this miniature looking game, because it does look very, very small whenever you're actually looking at it and playing it. There is so much stuff packed into this game, though, that it is almost mind-boggling.
As far as the graphical side goes, it's one of those games that at first, I'll be honest with you, I didn't care for it. I don't mind asymmetric games, but this one at first really kind of bothered me. But strangely enough, the more I played it, the more I kind of fell in love with the actual style. So it's just kind of strange how that happens. Going back to what you were saying about perks, guys, perks in this game are extremely in-depth, and I want to kind of preface this. It can be very overwhelming, right from the get-go. The game gives you a lot of information and doesn't explain a whole lot. That being said, again, perks are kind of one of those things that you essentially, the way it works is you can take on negative perks, and then based off of those you get certain points that you can invest into positives. So for instance, I like to play a carpenter. I always kind of choose my guy to be a little overweight, which essentially what that does is it slows him down. He doesn't have as much stamina, so he gets tired quicker. But I can take the negative from that and take those points that it gives me for that and invest it into something I can build things better. So you take on the negatives, but it also gives you positives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so again, and with that being said, we might do another video later on that kind of goes over more of the perks and exactly what they do, and kind of how they operate. But in this game, you're going to be building a character a lot. So, don't be afraid to try different builds, kind of feel the game out, see what perks and what negatives you don't like, because I'll be honest with you, you are going to die. The game very simply states it this is how you died. That is how it starts out. So don't be discouraged by dying. It's a very, very rewarding game. Once you kind of get used to the controls of it, you're almost going to need to kind of allow yourself to get out in the world and kind of feel it and really just kind of get used to how everything feels before you're actually going to be able to succeed.
Yeah, at first, again, going back to what I was saying, the game is very overwhelming, and you are going to die. There's no doubt about it. The first time that I actually played, it took me a minute just to figure out how to get out of the home that I was in, because the controls are a little weird. The best way I can describe this game is The Sims mixed with State of Decay. So the controls are a little strange, but as soon as I got out of the house that I was in, I was immediately overwhelmed with zombies. And that's going to be a thing that you're going to have to kind of face and learn how to get around those and not be necessarily scared of them because they will gang up on you very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, what we were saying is this is a very big simulation game. So just as what you would imagine, your character or whoever you're playing as is going to get, you're going to have these things that pop up on the side of the screen. They're called moodles. Whether your person is, and this is how in-depth this game is, whether your person is depressed, anxious, panicked, hot. It even goes into like being hot in this game. So there's a lot of different things that are kind of like, you're overwhelmed with at first. You see like 3 zombies and your dude is immediately like freaking out and you're like, oh, okay, what's going on here? So I mean, just don't be scared of actually trying to survive. I really think that at its core, this is probably one of the truest survival games that I've played in quite a long time. I mean, the actual survival aspect of this game has me hooked. I am just completely in on this game.
Yeah, and again, just kind of rephrasing, you are going to be frustrated. I probably rage quit the game about 3 to 4 times before I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to figure it out. And then once I did fall in love with the game. The game's very fun. It's a little bit, I would say, slower. Don't think of this as an action game. Think of this as a true survival game where you're having to board up windows, you're having to cover them with cloth so the zombies can't see you, because line of sight in this game is actually a really big thing. Like, if you walk into a house, even though the game's asymmetric, if you walk into a house and there's a wall between you, you can't see through that wall. You actually have to make your way around and like physically look. So there could be like a zombie standing on the opposite side of that wall, but you're not gonna know it's there until you actually poke your head around and see it, which is honestly something that at first I didn't quite understand, but like it adds to the depth of the game.
It does. This game, it is such an in-depth game, guys. I can't go over that enough. I mean, you need items to really be able to do even basic tasks. I mean, which, is pretty realistic, but I mean, to kind of go over it, like you need a saw and a hammer to be able to dismantle a chair, so there's just so much that actually goes in depth with it. One thing that I really like that I know you had mentioned State of Decay earlier, I know State of Decay 1, it didn't really have, like, you could just hop in a car and go forever and you never really had to worry about gas. Well, I know they changed that in State of Decay 2, but this game, it starts out exactly like that. Like, you have to have gas to be able to do anything, to be able to power a car, to be able to power a generator. And I mean, you really have to think about, like, what kind of tools would I need to be able to do this in real life? So I mean, it is such an in-depth simulation survival game that even the best of them, even like when you're, like, for example, if you choose to pick this game up, even in late game, you could still have something happen and, your character could die. And again, it's going to be discouraging. It's going to be frustrating. But at the end of it, you have that experience. Now, to kind of go over that, in this game, if you choose, if you do die, which again, you probably will, but if you choose to stay in that same world and spawn in that kind of same area, one thing that I really like is your base is still there. So don't be, super discouraged. Your base and all the items that you had amassed and collected are still going to be in that location. And guess what? Your character that is now a zombie is, because you will turn into a zombie, you will be able to go find your character, kill your zombie self, and take back all your items.
Again, this game is just overly simulated in like the best of ways. Again, I keep going back to this, guys. This game will frustrate you. Like, this game will frustrate you. But kind of moving on from that, I do want to talk about the building in this game as far as like crafting stuff. Crafting, again, you need a lot of different tools, a lot of different items to be able to make things. But as far as like it goes, it's very simplistic. It's very straightforward. I do like the fact that you'll reach a point in the game where like water is like scarce and you have to build rain collectors in order to like collect water. You actually have to cook food. Like, so you're not just going to find like a can of beans. You can actually, it's funny, you can find a can of beans, but you have to have a can opener in order to get it open, and you can eat it cold, but it might depress your guy. So like you need like a cooking pot to be able to actually like cook it, to warm it up, to make him like happier in that situation. It's like, oh, I'm eating beans, but at least they're warm.
Yeah. And I mean, it is so good. It is so good. I am very impressed with this game. I'll be honest with you guys. It's one that I passed over for a long time. I had heard about it a while ago, but it is one of those games that I'm so happy that I picked up, and it's one of those games that I'm glad that I actually gave it a chance to like actually play and kind of get really immersed in it. And to kind of go over the immersion, the sounds in this game are very in-depth. Like it is very much so, like they did very good with the sounds. One other thing, to kind of go over just how, simulated this is and everything. Again, I had spoke about it earlier, but I want to make sure I reiterate, the injuries do have steep repercussions. So for example, if you cut your leg, or if you, do anything along those lines, you cut your foot, you cut your leg, something along those lines, there is going to be a repercussion for that. And a lot of times it is movement repercussion. so you can't move as fast as what you normally would be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as it goes, you cut, so you have reduced movement. It can also get infected if not treated. You also have to change out the bandages occasionally because those get gross over time. You even have to wash your character. Like your character actually has to bathe, which is crazy. Kind of an example of what he's talking about is, again, like I said earlier, my character was overweight. One of the best parts about that perk is, the negative side of it. Yeah, your character's overweight, but as you play in game, you can actually lose that weight, which is what I try to do whenever I play, because then I don't have the negative aspects of it. But in order to do that, you have to exercise. And I had pushed my character too far one time early in the morning of the gameplay, and then towards the evening, he was so overburdened with sore muscles that he could barely even move. He couldn't carry anything. And I actually had to step back into the base and just kind of hang out. And I couldn't really do a whole lot because my character was just sore.
Yeah. And this game does kind of go over where there's a lot of different factors that you want to at least know. If you're checking out this video, then you're at least thinking about picking it up. In my personal opinion, it is a more fun game. And I might get shot on my channel, but it is a more fun game in my opinion than 7 Days to Die, where there becomes a point to where you feel overpowered. At no point in this game, at no point in my playthrough have I ever felt overpowered. Even though I have really good weapons, and even though my character has some pretty decent skills, I still feel that at the drop of a hat, something could happen and my character could die. When that does happen, obviously I'll be upset, but it is what it is. This game does go over a lot of different things, such as you have to read books and get knowledge to be able to do certain things. Earlier on in the game, there is a TV shows that come on whenever the outbreak first happens that you can actually level up some of your skills from. So kind of keep an eye on that. Overall, guys, if you're thinking about this game, it is absolutely wonderful. When I picked it up, it was $20 on Steam. And I'll be honest with you, I've gotten well more than my $20 worth of enjoyment out of this game.
Yeah, again, I would recommend this game to anybody that likes any kind of survival games. If you guys are into asymmetric style games, if you guys are into simulated games, this game is for you. That being said, we do plan on playing this more over on Twitch. So if you guys are interested, you guys want to come see some of the gameplay firsthand, you guys want to come hang out with us, you are more than welcome to. We appreciate everybody that comes over and hangs out with us, and we really enjoy spending time with you all.
If you guys have anything that you want to say about it, put it down in the comments. If you have any questions or anything like that, we'll try our best to answer them if we know it. Again, this is just a first impressions of the game, so we are still going to be diving into this head first. We are planning a couple other videos just as far as it goes for some of the perks and stuff like that, so make sure that you guys subscribe to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that being said, until next time, I'm Obi.
And I'm Sobi.
Signing out.
See you guys next time.